Good morning to everybody, and thank you so much for joining Delaware County Transportation Management Association here at the Drexelbrook for our 2024 Annual Municipalities Conference. My name's Tracy Barusevicius. I'm the Executive Director of the DCTMA, and we are really excited to bring you guys a fabulous day of education on investments in multimodal infrastructure, walking and biking and transit, oh my, with all due respect to the Judy Garland estate. We hope that all of you will take something away to apply back to your local municipalities, and that we can possibly introduce you to resources that help you succeed in planning these transformative transportation practices. Before we start, some housekeeping issues. Restrooms are on either side of the main lobby. Please remember to drop your business cards into the door prize bin up front. And at the end of today's education, if you could pick up an attendee survey, and please recycle your name badges at the end of the day. In addition to our keynote address today provided by SEPTA, we will also include 4 individual breakout sessions of information that's applicable to Delaware County local governments. We encourage multiple attendees from the same municipality to split up and cover as much information in both sessions as possible. Avail yourselves of the opportunity for Q&A with the educators and collect their contact information for future connections. DCTMA will be recording all of our sessions today for future viewing via the DCTMA YouTube channel. While we love seeing our municipal partners here every year, we also want you to know that there's a lot more that DCTMA can do for you. Through the partner agencies, we aim to connect with your communities by offering education and programming on transportation safety, sustainability, modes of travel, young driver, mature driver strategies and training, bicycle and pedestrian safety programs for school-age children, and many other topics. Please stop by the DCTMA information table and pick up a copy of our member benefits. And speaking of tables, please stop by, visit our industry partners and sponsors. Many of your township engineers are represented, as well as the Delaware County Planning Department with information on the County Vision Zero plan, and as many of our supporting member partners. These relationships and sponsorships are the reason that DCTMA is able to take on these grant projects that we do. Many of our grant projects are an 80-20 funding split. I know you all are familiar with that 20% local match. So thank you very much for helping us to reach ours. And as important as financial support is to the success of the operation, so is the personal support in terms of time and dedication that the board members of DCTMA contribute to our bottom line. Both these people and the companies that they work for understand and value contributions to community service and sustainability, and the resources that these board members bring with them. I'd like to thank our board members, Jeffrey Roken from Urban Engineers, Randy Prince from TD Bank, John Grant from Stantec, Jessica Noon, Shane Dowd, and Alexandra McDowell from Philadelphia International Airport, Lori Pinkney from Values into Action, Adam Gattuso from Monroe Energy, Lou Huffnagel from the County of Delaware, Michael Bunner from Franklin Lake Credit Union, Joe Mastronardo from Pannoni Engineering, Margaret Bubin from Penn State Brandywine Campus, Armand Alessi from Mainline Health, Riddle Hospital, Steve Cunningham from Jacobs Engineering, Bruce Egan from Crozier Health, Shamel Roberts from Delaware County Community College, Stephen Neese from Newtown Township, Eric Ostemchuk from Traffic Planning and Design, and Dennis Wolf from Fulton Bank. I'd like to recognize our ex officios as Tim Stevenson from PennDOT District 6, Stacy Bartels from the DVRPC, and Steve Lebetz from SEPTA. So thank you so much to all of these folks. So let's move forward now to the real reason that we're here today and how we got here. Many of you may be familiar with the National Transportation Conference that is choosing to come to Philadelphia this October, the Impact Transit and Community Conference, which is going to be co-hosted by SEPTA and the Delaware Valley Regional Planning Commission, has chosen our fair region to showcase the importance and the need for transit to connect people, places, and things. Great topic, great cause, right? It's hard to find an individual from the Delaware Valley region who has not crossed paths with or benefited from SEPTA in some way, shape, or form. But here in Delaware County, that need is exponentially growing as our dependence on the transit system is much higher than some of the other ring counties. When I started to dig deeper into the data, it got even more interesting. On the website for this conference, I found this statistic that said that the 5 counties of southeastern Pennsylvania generate 40% of the state's economic activity on 5% of the land. 5% of the land. That's a heck of a lot of people, and we're moving a heck of a lot of people. But if it's through a different lens, if I were a resident of, let's say, Columbia County or Franklin County in Pennsylvania, wouldn't it also benefit me as a Pennsylvania resident to keep this economic engine humming on just 5% of the land? Well, I'd like to turn the podium over to our DCTMA Board Chair, Dennis Wolf, who will introduce our keynote speaker and be giving you further information on just this topic. Dennis?
Thanks, Tracy. Good morning, and thank you all for being here today. My name is Dennis Wolf. I am Vice President and Senior Store Manager for Fulton Bank and the Board Chair of the DCTMA. Earlier this year, as part of the Governor Josh Shapiro's annual budget address, the need for increased transit funding was raised as ridership still remains challenged recovering from COVID-19 pandemic. Here in Delaware County, we realize this need for some people is the difference between employment and unemployment, between education and no education, as well as access to many other activities. Here to detail the importance of the funding is SEPTA Board Chair Kenneth E. Lawrence Jr. Ken, a former chair of the Montgomery County Board of Commissioners, joined the SEPTA Board in September of 2011 and has served as the SEPTA Board Vice Chair since February 2021. He is also a former member of the SEPTA Citizens Advisory Committee. A well-known leader in the region, Lawrence is a Senior Vice President of Corporate Affairs for Southeastern Pennsylvania Highmark Blue Shield. He has an established track record of serving and improving communities across the Commonwealth through the roles at Temple University, the Greater Philadelphia Chamber of Commerce, Merck Co, and the consulting firm he founded, Public Affairs Strategies. He has previously served on boards of the Delaware Valley Regional Planning Commission, Greater Valley Forest Transportation Management Association, and the Schuylkill River Development Corporation. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ken Lawrence. Thanks for coming out.
Absolutely good to see you. Good morning, everyone. We can do a little bit better than that, right? Good morning. Is anybody else up late watching the Sixers last night? Anybody? Maybe? Yeah. So, yeah. All right, Sixers. We get some applause going there. So I was up late. I did not take SEPTA here, and traffic was horrible. It was bad in Montgomery County. Once I got to Delco, it was all good. But Dennis, thank you for that introduction. Tracy, thank you for having me here today. I thought you were going to actually start using my slides there for a second, Tracy. You had me nervous there. I want to acknowledge Dan Muroff, who is one of my fellow SEPTA board members, and he is actually one of Delco's representatives. I call him Delco Dan. So Dan, thank you for being here this morning. And all of the SEPTA staff who made sure I got here and made sure my remarks were here when I got here as well. Thank you. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to help kick off today's conference. And it looks like you all have a very full agenda with important conversations about the future of mobility in Delaware County and in the region. So I just want to start by saying SEPTA is personally important to me. I've been a lifelong SEPTA user. I grew up born in Chester County, raised in Montgomery County, but have been using SEPTA since I was a teenager to come into the city to get a haircut. My dad worked in the city. I'm a Temple University grad. Any Temple people here? Oh, yeah, all right. See? Yeah, it always works. Sixers in the Temple always works. and going down. So as you heard, my first official role at SEPTA was on the Citizens Advisory Committee, where I actually learned a lot about SEPTA there. And then I had the honor of being appointed to the board in 2011. And I became a commissioner in 2017 and continued on the board in that. And then in February, I had the honor to be elected chair following Pat Dion. Pat served on the SEPTA board for 29 years. Okay, SEPTA's only 60 years old. Pat served on the board for 29 years, and he served as chair for 25 years. So, you know, I've told people, if you're taking the over-under on how long I'm going to serve as chair, and the over-under is 25, definitely take the under on that. 25 years is a long time. But it's a privilege to lead SEPTA at this critical time. And I'm pleased to be here with you today to update you on steps we're taking to address our funding challenges and how new dedicated funding will allow SEPTA to provide better service to our region and Delaware County, the service that we deserve. So we've worked closely with the Shapiro administration and legislative leaders to advance the governor's transit funding proposal, which would provide new operating funding for transit agencies statewide, including $161 million for SEPTA. The governor's budget recognizes how critical SEPTA is to the city and state, and it also reflects the important work of elected leaders here in Delaware County to carry our urgent funding message to Harrisburg. So I do want to acknowledge, so we have the Southeast delegation. You all know that we're the collar counties, Chester County, Delaware County, Montgomery County, and Bucks County. Then, of course, our Philadelphia delegation as well. Right here in Delaware County, your state senator, Tim Carney, actually chairs the Southeast Senate delegation, and State Representative Jen O'Mara chairs the House delegation, the Southeast House delegation. So Delco, you guys got some power going on there, and we want to thank them, but also all of our elected officials. Delaware County Council, led by Dr. Monica Taylor, has been a crucial advocate. Christine Ruther, Elaine Schaefer, your whole council has really been great in supporting SEPTA priorities and supporting public transit. So I know most of you are familiar with SEPTA. Maybe you took SEPTA to get here. I did not, but sometimes it's hard to get a scale of how big SEPTA is and how much service we provide. So I want to begin with just a high-level overview, if I can get this. Look at that. See, it's working for me here. We're the 6th largest mass transit system in the nation. Of course, we're the largest here in Pennsylvania. We have 9,000 employees, so we're a major employer here as well. Our fiscal year 2025 proposed operating budget is $1.74 billion. The proposed capital budget is $922 million. We do 700,000 daily passenger trips a day. And in February, we reached our highest ridership recovery, 70% since the pandemic. I hope you're familiar with our Key Advantage program, which has been a resounding success, driving increased ridership. More than 70,000 employees and students receive transit benefits. We have some of our region's largest private sector and public sector employees, and over 50 other companies. And the University Pass program launched in 2023. Swarthmore College here in Delaware County is our first participating college. And also, Philadelphia has instituted a zero fare program based on income as well. We have 2,800 bus and rail vehicles in our fleet, 150 routes, serving 285 subway and rail stations and 13,000 bus and trolley stops. Right now, we have a laser focus on safety, security, and cleaning. Our FY25 operating budget anticipates $72 million investment in safety and security and cleaning, which is doubling the FY 2022 safety and cleaning budget. We plan to add 40 new officers to SEPTA's Transit Police Department, and SEPTA currently has 230 sworn officers, and we're hiring 100 additional cleaners. So SEPTA service is an economic engine for the region and for Delaware County. The 4 metro rail lines, 4 regional rail lines, and more than 20 bus routes provide service to every corner of the county and beyond, connecting people to jobs, school, essential services, and recreation. You know, I like to say that we make this region run. Staff is completing final design of the new bus work program for presentation to the board in May. This new network will deliver more efficient, consistent, and reliable bus service in Delaware County, including all routes will have 7-day-a-week service. 2 high-frequency routes will directly connect Chester and 69th Street Transportation Center, and more direct connections to Philadelphia International Airport. So SEPTA is grateful to the TMA and your members for being an integral part of the bus network redesign planning and communication effort. Your feedback was critical, and we look forward to partnering on the implementation. SEPTA is also investing heavily in the infrastructure and vehicles that support SEPTA service throughout the county, and I want to highlight some of the projects and initiatives currently or soon to be underway. We're conducting a transit-oriented development study at the Darby Transportation Center. Design is complete on an upcoming ADA improvement project at Swarthmore Station. We installed the first of our pilot full-length fare gates at 69th Street Transportation Center. We've initiated phase 1 of the 69th Street Transportation Center master plan that will guide the next decade of operational and customer infrastructure upgrades. We're preparing to install cameras at Chester Transportation Center and working with the Chester Police Department and Delaware County District Attorney's Office on information sharing. Continued installation of signal upgrades to the Media Sharon Hill lines, and we're working on major vehicle procurements to replace our entire trolley fleet and the Market Frankfort line cars. We actually had a great announcement about that about a month ago. So SEPTA service is critical to the people who live in this region, providing essential mobility to jobs, school, shopping, and essential services. Trips on SEPTA generate hundreds of millions of dollars in annual economic impact for the county and support thousands of indirect jobs. And as you heard, SEPTA's impact is even greater across the Commonwealth. The service we provide is the economic engine of a 5-county region that generates 41% of the state's economic activity, with 32% of its population and just 5% of the land. SEPTA is an economic driver in its own right. SEPTA is the size of CVS and Aramark and support jobs and communities across Pennsylvania. In 5 years, from 2019 to 2023, SEPTA procured more than $1.14 billion in goods and services from Pennsylvania counties, an annual average of $228 million. And that includes $208 million in goods and services right here in Delaware County. But this is a critical time for SEPTA. All the benefits that SEPTA provides to our residents and Pennsylvania's economic competitiveness are at risk. After 22 consecutive years of balanced budget, COVID-induced ridership losses have created a recurring deficit of $240 million per year, beginning with our fiscal year 2025, which begins on July 1st. Pre-COVID, our fare revenue made up approximately 37% of our operating budget. Currently, 21% of our operating budget comes from fare revenues. We've been very proactive to contain costs and find savings and efficiencies wherever we can, including an industry-leading efficiency and accountability program, which has generated more than $50 million per year in savings. And despite those efforts, without state assistance, funding shortfalls of the magnitude projected will require drastic response to balance our budget. Potential fare increases of up to 31% and service reductions as high as 21%. Cash fares increase to $3 per ride. TransPass increases to $120 monthly. And we would return to COVID area essential service levels. Governor Shapiro's FY25 budget proposes a 1.75 increase in allocation of state sales tax receipts to public transportation agencies statewide. It would represent the first increase in transit operating assistance since 2007, nearly 20 years ago. It generates an additional $282 million for transit operating statewide, totaling $1.5 billion over 5 years. And it provides, as I mentioned, an additional $160 million for SEPTA. The governor's proposal would be a lifeline for SEPTA and transit systems across the state. With additional funding, continued support from our counties, and additional belt tightening, SEPTA can close our $240 million funding cap, stabilize the operating budget for 6 years through 2030, direct funds to safety, security, and cleaning, and avoid fare increases and service cuts. So I'm grateful to the efforts of our regional legislative delegation, particularly here in Delaware County. But if you don't listen to anything else I say, if you don't hear anything else I say, we need the governor's budget proposal to be implemented. Because I really feel that if it's not, and we go to service cuts and we go to fare increases, it's going to start a death spiral there. People will stop using, and I don't know where we come back from that. The Pennsylvania House passed a bill in March that includes the governor's 1.75% proposal, and it had bipartisan support. We had the support of 5 Republicans from the Southeast in supporting that. And it sets the stage for important work to do between now and the end of June. So while SEPTA is focused on operating through this challenging time and resolving our fiscal cliff, we've also not lost sight of our needs for increased local funding for capital investment. SEPTA's state of good repair backlog has grown to $5.1 billion, and projects of significance such as trolley modernization, ADA upgrades, and critical vehicle replacements are not fully funded in a capital program that is already oversubscribed. New funding options are needed to give counties the ability to invest in local priorities and projects of regional significance. Increased local funding will secure additional state investment, and new local funding options will unlock federal grants as well that can fund up to 1/2 of local project costs. Peer regions like Boston, Washington, D.C., and New York spend 52 to 186% more per capita on transit annually to leverage significant federal investment. These regions are securing major federal investments to build their infrastructure and gain economic advantages. 2 bills have been introduced in the House to provide a menu of options for counties, and we'll be working to advance those measures as well as part of the FY 2024 and 2025 budget outreach. So despite our immense challenges, SEPTA has continued working to make a bold vision for the future of transit in our region a reality. We are advancing initiatives and projects of significance to make SEPTA more intuitive, reliable, and easier to use. First, bus revolution, redesigning our bus network for the first time in over 60 years to be more useful to more people. And I'm really thrilled by the public engagement efforts that we've undertaken to talk to our customers and elected officials about this. SEPTA Metro, an improved wayfinding system which will be rolled out in 2024 to make SEPTA safer and easier to navigate. Signage has been installed at our new Drexel station at 30th Street, and we're planning to roll out signage to more stations. Trolley modernization, modernizing one of the nation's largest and oldest trolley systems in the nation, making all 8 lines fully accessible with new fully accessible trolleys and upgraded street track infrastructure. Last year, the board awarded the contract to procure the new trolley fleet. The next major milestone will advance sitting and planning of a new trolley maintenance facility and upgrades to 69th Street Transportation Center. And a 2023 USDOT raised grant to upgrade track infrastructure in Southwest Philly. And then reimagining regional rail, a medium and long-range initiative to develop regional rail into a frequent all-day lifestyle network. And replacement of the aging Silverliner 4 fleet is a major upcoming initiative. We're taking early steps to initiate that progress. So SEPTA's leadership, including our CEO and General Manager Leslie Richards, my fellow board members, and I have been working with the Shapiro administration, legislative leaders, and our regional legislative delegation and stakeholders like all of you here today. As I said, this is a critical year for SEPTA. As I said earlier, legislative decisions made now will determine whether SEPTA can continue to provide the service that our region deserves. In 2026, are we showing off a transformed, modern 21st century transit agency with more service, or are we in the midst of dismantling the region's transit system as people arrive from around the world because we failed to invest? The bipartisan vote in the House in March, passing the governor's 1.75% funding proposal, was an important milestone, but state budgets are a long and complicated political negotiation, and we need all of your help. So please join lawmakers, stakeholders, and advocates to build support for an increase in state funding for SEPTA and public transportation across the state to preserve safe, affordable, reliable transit service. And urge support for new local investment and passage of HB 902 and 1307, state legislation to provide options to county governments to generate revenues locally and invest in projects that drive local priorities. So thank you, that's it. And I think I'm taking questions. Am I taking questions, Tracy? Or only easy ones?
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Lawrence?
With the improvement of the streets, the train, the bus problem, I know I used to work for SEPTA on the regional rail. We got new trains in. I wonder, this time around, are those particular vehicles, are they going to be made in the country or are they going to be made outside?
If we get federal grants for them, then they will need to be made in the country. There's a made in the USA provision there. So it might depend, but the bulk of the work, because we get federal grants for that, has to be done in country, in the USA. All right.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you so much for sharing with us why Governor Shapiro's budget address is so important to our region and how SEPTA does contribute to the economic viability of the region. I also want to mention, just from DCTMA, as Ken mentioned, Senator Carney's office has always been so supportive of our transportation initiatives. He is kind of our connection to the Senate Transportation Committee, and he religiously reports back to us on a lot of the legislation that's moving forward in the Transportation Committee. And I'd like to thank Sarah McCullough from Senator Carney's office for being here and helping us out whenever you can. So thank you. Yeah. Yes, the senator's actually working for us now in session. So thank you for that. So please take this opportunity to check out the trade show, chat with your industry friends and neighbors. The Drexel Brook will be breaking this out for our 2 breakout sessions. So come back here at 10:15 for breakout sessions 1 and 2. Thank you.